Slammy, Ego, Slammy, Ego, Slammy, hey. Hit it up hard, hit it with a strike. From the national anthem to the bottom of the night. Amen. Slammy, Ego, Slammy, Ego, Slammy, Ego, Slammy, hey. You already know what's up. What's that? Another home run. We should know the job ain't done till we hold that trophy up. Hey.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 371 of the Talking Friars podcast and YouTube show. Yes, this is a Padres show. The core of the show is Padres. But come on, we got to start with the San Diego State Aztecs. Final Four bound. First time, obviously, in history that they are headed into the Final Four. They will be facing off against FAU. Man, this San Diego State-Creighton game, what a game, right? The revenge game, right when San Diego State made it to the Elite Eight. Obviously, a huge win against Alabama. It felt like all Aztecs fans were wanting Creighton. We wanted Creighton because we just felt like, hey, they beat Alabama, they can beat anyone, and the whole revenge game thing. Like, they're not losing. This team is not going to lose to Creighton. And it was very close. I obviously wish it was not that close, but it was a very memorable ending, an ending that I think Aztecs fans will never forget. For any fans that want to be mad about the foul call when Trammell had the floater at the end there, I'm talking about opposing fans or just basketball fans in general. That's not what you should be getting mad at. I mean, get mad at Creighton. If you're rooting for Creighton, get mad at Creighton for going, 2 for 17 from 3? Get mad at that. Get mad at them not being able to get that rebound late when Mensah got the rebound, right? Get mad at whoever fouled Trammell there late. You know, that was a foul. But what a finish. 57-56 was the final. San Diego State over Creighton. They trailed 33-28, at the half. The starting five at the half had combined for 20 points. Creighton at the half, starters, 33 points. So there was a big difference there. 56-56 if we fast forward all the way to the end of the fourth. And we could go through the game, right, more in depth, but really what we're going to remember, the big takeaway from this game was at the end, right? 56-56, inbound pass. It ends up going to a rope. He finds Darion Trammell, who comes up, top of the key, goes in, little floater, and he gets pushed on the hip by one of the Creighton players. And my reaction, so Trammell obviously misses the floater, but I was like, oh, crap, okay, this is going to overtime. I didn't realize that there was a foul called. And then, obviously, when the replay showed, it was like, okay, yeah, that's a foul. No, duh, that was a foul. But for some people on social media to think that wasn't a foul, like, come on. It was a foul. I know Trammell, maybe he definitely oversold it, like, flop job a little bit there, but that was a foul. If you look, he pushed the hip, he pushed Trammell, tried to make sure he was down, which that alters the shot. It just does. That's a foul. So Trammell earned that. He earned it. I thought that, drawing up a last play, it was going to go to someone like Lamont Butler, especially with what he did at the end of the season, end of the regular season, near the end. In that huge win on the road, right, against New Mexico with the game-winning shot. I don't know if Dutch drew up the play for Lamont and it just didn't happen that way. But I know finding a rope was not probably what was drawn up there in that final play. But they had to get the ball in. They just had to. And Trammell, credit to him for getting open, a rope for finding him. And then getting to the free throw line, he misses the first. And that's where it's like, oh, crap. You get really worried there. I mean, I think it made for more of a memorable moment, though, to be honest, because he misses the free throw. And so it's like, all right, it comes down to this because he had 2 free throws. If he doesn't make the second, then the game's tied and it probably goes into overtime. And he makes it, and it's like, all right, we can breathe now. It's 57-56. Now, I know the end of the game, it took a while for that ending to happen. The long throw in, making sure that it was the timing was all right, right? Like the clock made sure it was off of Creighton, and it was. And so that took a while, but what an ending. Yeah, would you prefer the ending to be like a Lamont Butler game like that? Of course. But this game was right down to the wire, and it was definitely a memorable ending. The game against Creighton last year was down to the wire, and obviously that did not go State's way. But I'd much rather have this have gone State's way, going to the Final Four, than a first round game last year, right? You obviously want to win both, but I'm taking this one. But a tremendous, tremendous victory, any victory at this point in time in March. I mean, this is like a dream. I was my mom during the Padres spring training game today was like, San Diego State's going to the Final Four. Just kept saying it. It's like it's one of those things where you don't think that it's going to happen. Like this can't happen. San Diego State to the Final Four. Like, is this a dream? That can't happen. Where with the Padres, right? There's a lot of talent on the Padres. With San Diego State, I'm not saying there's not a lot of talent and anything can happen in March, but no one was envisioning them going to the Final Four. Probably most San Diego State fans, right? What was our expectation for San Diego State? Like, what did we want entering this tournament for San Diego State for this to be a success? I was hoping, right, win a tournament game, and then I would label this season as a success because it's making progress, right? Dutch had never won a tournament game as the head coach. Make progress. They were able to do that. Then they were able to beat Furman. Then they were able to beat the number one seed, the number one overall seed, the best team in the country, right? Knock them off. Limit Brandon Miller to not a Brandon Miller game, if that makes sense, right? Darren Trammell goes off in that game, right? After that one, it's like, okay, this season is the best season in Aztecs history, obviously. Then they're able to win today against Creighton, and they're going to the Final Four. They're going to Houston. I mean, Jim Nantz is going to be calling their games. You don't see that with the San Diego State Aztecs, right? So I'm really happy just for the program, for those that attend the university, for those that used to attend the university, right? For the fans that have been waiting a long time, and for all the fans that probably didn't think this was a reality. The Final Four, San Diego State, like that doesn't make sense. But we're here, and Steve Fisher, he helped build this, right? Brian Dutcher and the rest of the coaching staff helped build this. And I'm talking about the coaching staff that was with Fisher, building this up. San Diego State was nothing, right? And then they started building, and they started making tournament appearances and winning some tournament games. And then they were identified as, okay, this is a basketball school, right? And then they kept getting the recruits, right? Because it's known as a basketball school. And Dutch takes over, and it keeps the same mentality, right? Defense. Defense is what wins, right? He has that written up on the whiteboard. At least the Sweet 16 game, after that win over Alabama, that's what was written on the whiteboard. The same mentality, right? If you don't play defense, you're not coming to this school, right? And they've kept that. And so that's really cool to see, right? Mensa with rebounds and blocks in this tournament, right? A lot of guys with good blocks and all that. But keeping that same core, if that makes sense, like that same mentality, the same priorities throughout this program. And now, I mean, who doesn't want to come to San Diego State? Perfect time now. I guess people, if you don't want to play defense, but perfect time with the whole Pac-12 stuff, right? Like, how can the Pac-12 say no to San Diego State now? And I know this is 1 year, and their big decision on San Diego State coming to the Pac-12 isn't going to be just on the basketball program. But come on, new stadium with the football, with You have the basketball program, the women's program, obviously doing well now, and they're ascending. The basketball program continuing to ascend and having it hit in a historic year. You don't want that program in your conference. How can you say, nah, we're good, we don't want San Diego State in our conference when we have no Southern California presence, right? So a lot of things are going right now for San Diego State. And so they play FAU on Saturday, a little bit after 3:00, I believe, is going to be the tip time. And I think I speak for San Diego when I say I cannot wait. What a week this is going to be, huh? San Diego State already going to the Final Four. That game's going to be this coming weekend. Padres opening day, opening series. The Wave having their second game after winning on Saturday, and we'll get to that in a bit. I mean, what a week. What a week this is going to be for San Diego sports, huh? What a week. All right. I guess I should go to the chat here. A lot of Aztecs chatter here. Let's go Aztecs. Mike says, hey, Aztecs, let's win one where I don't have to have my heart restarted after every game. Yeah, they've been close, but most Aztecs games, if you've been following, they're going to be close. They're not going to be blowouts. Mike says, a foul is a foul regardless of when it happens in the game. Don't want the call. Don't put your hand up. Don't put your hand, on the shooter's hip. Yeah, I agree. It was a foul. Aztecs missed 15 of 17 towards the end of the second half. That was their chance to pull away. Yeah, I remember them on the broadcast saying they missed 12 of their last 14 shots at one point in the second half. But they ended up getting it done. That's all that matters. They ended up getting it done. Yeah, good point from Gil. Can't lie, Tramel's post-game interview put a knot in my throat. Yeah, he was crying, and right, he went to, I think he went to junior college first, and then he went to Oakland, or was he no, that was Parrish, I think. Went to Seattle University, and then coming to State. And he ends up coming up big. Came up big in the Alabama game, comes up big here. After, again, and I think it was the Mountain West tournament, having a minimal role as the starting guard, as one of the starting guards. So it's cool to see him come back like that, right? All right, let's get to the core of the show, which is always going to be Padres. But anyone who's new, I've started implementing other San Diego sports because I'm a San Diego sports fan, diehard San Diego sports fan. You know, I'm not just Padres or just one specific team. Like, I'm San Diego through and through, and I know there's passion among other fans that watch or listen to this show that want to talk about other San Diego sports, and so that's why I'm doing it. So we'll get to the Padres here, but first, a message about Gaglione Bros.
Check out Gaglione Bros' famous cheesesteaks and garlic fries on Friars Road. You can visit their website, gaglionebros.com, for their entire menu and enjoy their cheesesteaks and fries at Petco Park and Snapdragon Stadium as well.
All right, so there's a lot to talk about Padres-wise. Padres played the Mariners today in spring training. Trent Grisham, I mean, holy cow. 2 home runs today, drove in 5 runs, had an RBI single in that third at-bat, only had 3 at-bats. It doesn't seem like the Padres starters are playing 9 innings, which you think that they would. Maybe some will play 9 innings on Monday, but you'd think that Bob Melvin would want to get some of the Padres players in for full 9 innings. I know the World Baseball Classic players did that already, but some of the other guys, full 9 innings, just so that they can at least do that once before opening day. But he also might be thinking, hey, the Padres played 23 games in the first 24 days. We don't need them playing 9 innings in a spring training game and having them play more innings and having them out there on the field trying to give it their all in a game that doesn't matter. And we're that close to spring training ending, that close to opening day. Might as well just, they get their 3 at-bats and just end it, right? But Grish, I'm predicting him to hit at least 20 home runs this season. That's one of my bold predictions for this year. Hopefully he hits more home runs than bunts that he lays down. Because if he is firing on offense like that, you know he's going to get good pitches to hit this year because they have to attack someone, right? The bottom of the lineup is what pitchers are going to be attacking because that's the only hole, I guess you could say, if there is one in this Padres lineup. The only lane that opposing pitching staffs can say, oh, we could get through this inning, right? If they get through Soto, Manny, Bogarts in an inning, or Tatis, Soto, Manny in an inning, 3 up, 3 down, it's because maybe luck, maybe something's hit hard, or maybe they just didn't see that pitcher well the first time around. Like, that's why that would happen. But if the bottom of the lineup's contributing, Trent Grisham, Ha-Seong Kim, I think, is going to have a better year. We'll see if Nola's starting on opening day or starting most of the time. I expect him to. We'll see about Luis Camposano as well. But if Trent Grisham's going, and he's going to be a second leadoff hitter too, that just makes it even more of like hell for opposing pitching staffs. If you have Grisham getting on base, hitting a bullet in the gap, or hitting a hard single to right, and now he's on first, he has speed, and you're bringing up, when Tatis comes back, you're bringing up Tatis, Soto, Manny, Bogarts, Cronenworth after Grisham. Good luck to opposing pitching staffs. I would not want to face that. But look, Grish, he's more aggressive. I love what I'm seeing so far from Grish so far this year, and I'm definitely rooting for a bounce back year. And anyone that was doubting Trent Grisham in this offseason and saying, yeah, let's trade Grish, I was open to trading him, but it had to be for like an elite package that they're bringing back, an elite starting pitcher. That's what I was like. I didn't want to trade him for someone that isn't going to be a huge impact to this team and just trade him just because. You know, I believe in Trent Grisham. I believe in this guy. And hopefully those that did doubt him or are still doubting Trent Grisham and are saying, hey, do it in the regular season. That's fine for you to have that viewpoint. But hopefully you're not going to be doubting him at the end of the year because you're going to see him have a tremendous year and put himself into the top 10 category, the top 10 center fielders in baseball. Hopefully that's what you're going to see from Trent when this season ends up being written, that Trent is a top 10 center fielder in baseball. So big game from him. Tim Hill had 3 strikeouts in the 8th, struck out the side there. A Soto update. He hit in the cage today, so he is hoping to play on opening day. He is still scheduled to play on opening day. I don't think that they're going to get him in that spring training game tomorrow on Monday, which is the Padres' final spring training game. But again, like I've said on previous shows, I'm not worried about Juan Soto. I don't think he needs to have all of these at-bats in Cactus League games. He's one of the best hitters on the planet, okay? And he's going to get some backfield at-bats, I believe, tomorrow. So it's not like he's not going to get at-bats. And he can get at-bats in San Diego when the team's back there and they have someone throwing on an off day, right? Even if he didn't get at-bats, I still want Juan Soto in the lineup. He's still a better option than having Jose Zokar in the lineup with at-bats. I'd rather go with Soto, obviously. So I'm not worried about that. Seems like the oblique's doing good, and he's been running. He's been sprinting, did cage work. So it seems like he's progressing. So good news there. For Nola, he caught Darvish on Saturday, took a ball off of his, I think it was his right hand, left hand. It was one hand, and he exited the game, but seems like everything is good there. He is scheduled to hit, or was scheduled to hit today, and he is supposed to play tomorrow. So that's good. That's good news there. Good news both on the Nola and on the Soto fronts there. Looks like both should be ready to go on opening day. So it should be Snell throwing to Nola. But if not, I mean, Snell just pitched amazingly well the other day, pitching to Campy over 6 innings. So it seems like that relationship's getting a little bit better. And obviously that's what you're hoping for if you're a Padres fan. Let's move to the starting pitching. So the starting pitching, it is lined up for the first 4 games of the year. Don't know about the 5th game. Padres beat writers Dennis Lin, Kevin Acee, they're thinking that it's going to be Julio Teheran to get that 5th day, and then hopefully Darvish get the 6th. The first 4, it's going to be Snell on Thursday, weather permitting. I did see something in the Union Tribune today saying that maybe it gets rained out. There's rain in the forecast. Hopefully that ends up not happening. But Snell on Thursday for opening day, Nick Martinez on Friday, Waka on Saturday, Lugo on Sunday, and then TBD for Monday, Monday. I think that's the Diamondbacks, first of 2. And then hopefully Darvish on Tuesday, the 6th game of the season. Then there's an off day. And then in Atlanta on, what would that be, Wednesday? In Atlanta, I think. Is that right? That's weird to have a series go in Atlanta. Let me look at the Padres' schedule here. Bear with me here. I just want to double check. So we got the Rockies series this coming weekend. And then, oh, no. The off day's Wednesday. Thursday's the first game. Sorry, totally had that mixed up. Thursday, that makes more sense. So 4-game series against the Braves, Thursday through Sunday. And then in New York, Musgrove, his first start could be on the 11th in New York. That's according to reports. So Musgrove, the update from Kevin Acee is Musgrove pitching in a minor league game on Monday, will begin the season on the IL. He was aiming to pitch April 6th, I think that's when it was, the first game in Atlanta. Yeah, April 6th, first game in Atlanta. He was hoping to pitch then, but looks like it's being pushed back, get him ramped up, fully built up, and April 11th is his now new target date, which would be against the Mets in New York, which obviously we know what happened the last time he pitched in New York. So that would be a pretty fitting season debut for Musgrove. His first road outing. Wait, his last road outing was, I think that was the Mets game, right? Because he pitched at home against the Dodgers. And did he? No, he might have pitched. I forget. Yeah, that's not the point. Whatever. But hey, April 15th, 16th, somewhere, maybe the 16th, I think. 16th or 17th. I think it would be the 16th, that Sunday. Because if he didn't pitch let's say he pitched the 11th, but it wasn't in the big leagues, every 5th day lines him up to the 16th. But I don't know. Who knows what the rotation is going to look like? Are they going to go with the 6-man? So will it be the 17th instead of the 16th? Maybe it's the 17th for that next start after the 11th. But he is aiming for the 11th. I was hoping that he wasn't even going to have to go on the IL, and he would have just pitched that April 11th game. Or not April 11th, the April 6th game against the Braves. I was hoping he would just got that. I thought he was going to. I mean, the way that his rehab was going, but they want to make sure that he's not going to be overcompensating anywhere. They want to make sure he's built up. They have extra starters, and this could help the Padres too, because with Musgrove not being on the roster to start the year, this opens another spot. Teheran could take that spot and start the 5th game of the season, and they have Jay Groom be in the bullpen as a long guy. Or they could have Jay Groom be a starter, have Teheran take Musgrove's spot, but him just go to the bullpen, have Honeywell take Robert Suarez's spot, and that's news on Suarez. Suarez, he is starting 2023 on the IL with arm stiffness and joint inflammation, so that's not great. He has not resumed throwing, according to Kevin Acee. Could resume throwing soon. April 7th could be his return date if the IL stint starts on March 27th. If they backdate it to tomorrow, then he could be available as early as April 7th. So that's not ideal news, obviously. Robert Suarez now Drew Pomerantz as well, right? So I wasn't expecting a whole lot from Drew Pomerantz, but to have Pomerantz and Suarez, who, if both were healthy, they'd be two of your high leverage guys, along with Garcia, Hader. Having two of those four out to start the year, that's not ideal. But it does give the Padres the opportunity to have Tehran and Honeywell and Groom all on the roster. And going into spring training, I didn't really think that that was going to be a possibility. But injuries happened, right? We knew injuries were going to happen, and it wasn't a guarantee that Pomeranz was going to start the season on the roster. Who knows if he even pitches for the Padres in 2023 on the Major League Club? I mean, I hope he does. I'm rooting for Drew. I know some fans don't like Drew Pomeranz because he hasn't really given the Padres anything, and I totally understand that, but he wants to be out there. His body's just, the arm is just not letting him. It looked like he was going to start the season with the Padres, and then he was dealing with some pain, right? Where was it? Was it Morahone with it was just above the elbow? I think that was him, but just inflammation, I think, still with Pomerantz. So it's unfortunate, but Honeywell, right? Because Honeywell, Tehran, like I was saying earlier this spring, there was some reasons why the Padres would want to keep them on the roster. Honeywell, he'd have to go through waivers. Tehran, he could just choose to opt out, and he could just go to another team if he didn't make the opening day roster. But now the Padres can just say, no, Honeywell, you're not going to go through waivers. You're on the roster. Tehran, you're not going to opt out. You're on the roster. And Jay Groom can make the roster still, right? Because we didn't know, right? Like Groom, maybe the Padres decided to keep Groom built up, ramped up, or fully built out, right? In the minor leagues, and they just go with Honeywell, Tehran, you can keep them on the roster. Groom has options, right? He hasn't even debuted in the big leagues yet. So maybe that's what they would have decided to go with if Musgrove wouldn't have gone on the IL, or Pomerantz would have been ready, or if Suarez would have been ready. But now all three can be on it, and all three have now a chance to prove themselves while Musgrove is out. I think even if Tehran or Groom proves themselves as a starter and Musgrove comes back, I don't think that they're not going to go with a 7-man, right? I hesitate to say that they'll go with the 6-man. Maybe right when Musgrove gets back, because it did work at the beginning of the year. But I think they want to see Musgrove and Darvish and Snell get the most starts possible because those guys are their best starters. So after that, it would probably at some point narrow down to Waka after those three, as not necessarily the four, but I'm just saying as a fourth, one of the four first, or just one of the starters. He'll be a fourth starter in the rotation, and then probably Lugo or Martinez, and then the other going to the bullpen. I don't see Tehran or Groom or Honeywell sticking it out long term in the rotation. Injuries can happen, things can happen, and they can go move back into the rotation, but I don't see them sticking long term. You want this rotation at some point to narrow down to every fifth day because that's what the starters are used to, right? And that gives you more starts. That gets you more starts out of Musgrove, more starts out of Snell, more starts out of Darvish. And that's what you want when you're trying to go win the division this year. You're trying to go be one of the best teams in the National League and get that NLDS berth and not have to play the wild card series. That's what you're trying to do if you're the Padres. You want your best starters in there as much as possible, right? So I think that's what's going to happen. But those are the latest updates. So Snell again, game 1, Martinez game 2, Waka game 3, Lugo game 4. Don't know yet who's going to pitch that first game of the Arizona series, and then don't know who's going to pitch the second game, that last game of the homestand. But we're hoping that it's you, Darvish. Definitely hoping so. He should be. I think he threw yesterday, right? I think he threw yesterday in like a backfield game. So that would put him on track to pitch Thursday, maybe just before the game at Petco in like a sim game. And then you could give if it's every 5th day, then he would pitch April 4th before that off day, April 5th. Or they could just really relax him and then have him start April 6th again against Atlanta, because Musgrove's not starting that game anymore. Have him start then, and that could give Tehran or Honeywell or Groom, that could allow them to start that Tuesday game. Or no, it wouldn't be them, because they would start Sunday, right? Or no, they'd start Monday as the 5th. So Snell, you could have Snell start that Tuesday game, the 4th. It gets confusing. I know, obviously, like I haven't gotten all the dates totally correct here. It gets a little confusing just because of how many starters and when is this person. You just don't know when is this guy going to be inserted into the rotation, and so that pushes everyone back a day. But hopefully you understand the latest on the pitching rotation right now and how that's going. So again, with Musgrove, if it's an every 5th day schedule, then he pitches Monday, pitches on April 1st, pitches April 6th, before making the Mets start April 11th. But who knows? Again, we don't know if the Padres plan for him to just go every 6 days, and so he wouldn't start April 11th. That wouldn't put him on that track. But he's aiming for April 11th. So I'm assuming he's just going to prepare for that every 5th day start and make a couple starts to get ramped up, get fully built up before making his 2023 season debut against the Mets on April 11th. Maybe it's not April 11th, but hopefully it's sometime during that Mets series. I'm seeing on social media stuff about Jay Groom. So has he made the roster? Do we know? I guess Sammy Levitt just talked to him in the clubhouse. Okay. So it's no news on that. Because it has been cool seeing the videos, the hidden cameras with the big prospects, the guys that are going to be making their major league debuts on opening day. Anthony Volpe with the Yankees, Jordan Walker. I don't know if he's going to start that day, but hopefully with the Cardinals, seeing their reactions, right? And the manager, the GM be there in their office and telling them, yeah, you made the club. I want to see that. I want to see the Padres post that with Jay Groom. Brent Honeywell's debuted in the big leagues, but it would still be cool to see that, right? See Tehran's reaction getting back to the big leagues, because it's been a long road for him to get back to the big leagues, right? Seeing guys like that, like, hey, you made the roster. That'll be cool to see, hopefully, if the Padres do that with someone like Jay Groom. Especially for Groom, because he hasn't been in the big leagues yet. All right. I think that's the only other Padres updates that I had. So let's go to the chat here. First, though,
I want to tell you about the best and easiest way to play fantasy sports. It's Underdog Fantasy. They have great pick'em games and best ball tournaments. In pickup games, just pick higher or lower on 2 to 5 players' stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. You can go cross-team, cross-league, and even cross-sport. Best ball revolves around the draft, which is what every fan loves the most about fantasy, and it eliminates the hassle of having to manage your roster all season long, resulting in a fun and easy fantasy product. How does it work exactly? You enter a contest where you participate in a snake draft against other users. That lineup that you drafted competes against every other draft in the entire contest. The better the combined performance of your team, the more money you win. After your lineup is all played, Underdog will take the best performing players and automatically set them as your starting lineup. That's it. No waivers, no trades, no worrying about who to start or sit. After you complete your draft, your part is done. Underdog Fantasy offers best ball in a variety of ways, including daily contests, weekly contests, playoff contests, and season-long contests. You can either enter into these and compete against thousands of other entrants for huge prizes, or, if you'd like, you can enter into a private draft with friends and family to compete for a smaller prize pool. Underdog keeps it super simple with their easy-to-use website and mobile apps. Sign up now by clicking the link in the description or by using the promo code TALKINGFRIARS, and you'll double your first deposit up to $100 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit of $10 or more. So if you deposit $100, you get $100 free. If you deposit $10, you get $10 free.
All right, let's get to the chat here. Speaking of Underdog real quick, though, opening day, MLB season, go on there, use my code. They'll match your deposit up to $100 fully. So again, like in that ad, $10. If you deposit 10, they'll give you 10 free, so you'll have 20 to work with. So definitely use Underdog. Great place to have some fun while watching these games, right? Opening day, opening week, all season long. There's going to be higher lowers. So if you think Manny's going to get higher, just for example, just throwing it out there, higher than 1.5 hits a night or half a hit, higher or lower. You think he's going to get a hit or not? You can do that. I think you have to do, for the higher or lower, you have to put in multiple picks. And then you put in whatever amount you want. And then I think you get like triple that amount if you win that. So definitely check that out. Going back to the chat here, Devin says, Grisham showed 2 big bombs. Hopefully he has a breakout year. I think he will. I definitely believe in him. James says, pick your rotation. Right now, I mean, we kind of know what it is, except for like one guy. So Snell, Martinez, Waka, Lugo. And then for the 5th guy, it probably should be Jay Groom. But maybe he started his last spring training game. I'll go with Jay Groom. Tehran can come out of the bullpen. I think he has done it in spring training. So I'll say Tehran, Honeywell can come out of the bullpen. Groom gets a start. And then obviously we'll see what happens after that. Darvish as technically the 6th guy starting the 6th game of the season. That's what it seems like is going to happen. So yeah, that's my rotation. Gil says Grish's trade value is that of an all-star caliber player. Not right now. I disagree with that. Right now it's not. But I think at the end of the year it can be. That's for sure. The glove is irreplaceable. I agree with that. I was open to trading, but only for a plus package. Today he is untradeable. I mean, well, you're not going to see a trade right before opening day. You know, everyone's roster is just getting finalized with the guys that are in camp. So I doubt, right now, like everyone's not going to get traded, right? But I get your point. I would not trade him right now. I trade him, like if the Brewers were, offering Corbin Burns for Trent Grisham, I mean, I'd be open to it, but I believe in Trent. I'm a big believer that, we know what he's going to give defensively. We know what he's going to give with his glove and center. You can always rely on that. Offensively, that's the question. And I know it's spring training, but what I've seen so far is a different Trent Grisham, a more aggressive Trent Grisham, a motivated Trent Grisham. And I love what I'm seeing. So I will bet on Trent Grisham this year. That's for sure. Devin says, once Musgrove comes back, it should be back to normal and reverts back to a 5-man rotation. I think so as well. Yeah. And then that would mean Lugo or Martinez goes to the bullpen. Because it would be Musgrove, Darvish, Snell, Martinez or Lugo, and Waka. And obviously Tehran, Groom, or Honeywell, whoever's starting at the beginning of the year, they get kicked out when Musgrove comes back, probably. Maybe they stick with the 6-man a little bit when Musgrove comes back just to make sure everyone is ramped up and ready to go. Save some innings, even if they are ramped up. But yeah, I see it going back to the 5-man for the majority of the season. All right, before we get out of here, I did want to touch on the San Diego Wave, obviously. A great first night. San Diego Wave, Chicago Red Stars, Chicago, San Diego. I mean, they are I don't know rivals, but they've already played each other 4 times now. 3 times last year in the Wave's first season in the NWSL as the expansion franchise, twice in the regular season, and then they met once in the playoffs, the first round, and the Wave won at home at Snapdragon. Then they meet last night for the 4th time, and the Wave barely get the win, but it doesn't matter. It's 3 points. That's all that matters. 3-2 win over Chicago. The handball at the end from Chicago, Morgan was attempting a shot, handball, and that gave the penalty kick, and she was going to make it. You just knew she was going to make it. So it was fitting for her to have the game-winning goal. But goals from Ali, from Shaw, I mean, that was a tremendous shot from Jane Shaw. That was the second goal. Ali coming in for the rebound off the goalie, off of Alyssa Nair, who was the Chicago's goalie last night. Um, just a real team effort, I would say. I think there were some penalty. There was that one penalty because Swanson had a penalty kick, and that was debatable on if that was the penalty, but obviously the handball was, and so that was definitely a well-deserved penalty kick for the Wave. I expected them to win this game. They're the better team, but you never knew on opening night. Like some jitters, just the first game. This Wave team, they still are in the early stages of getting to know each other, chemistry wise. They haven't played a lot of games. I think they had a couple preseason games. I think one was a closed practice, and then one was against Angel City um, at Snapdragon, but it was only like season ticket members. So not a whole lot of game action. And this was the first time that this group, right, including Colaprico, uh, including Maggie Doherty Howard, including all the new faces, playing in front of over 30,000 people. So maybe there was going to be an adjustment period, but Chicago, they have a really good goalkeeper. Obviously, they have arguably the best forward in soccer in Mal Swanson. I mean, I could watch her all day. She never gets tired. She's like the fastest one out there in the country. I mean, you put her right up there with probably Trinity Rodman, I would say. Just speed wise, really, really fast. Sophia Smith, you could put up there too. So Chicago, they have some good parts, but the Wave, they're a better team. But what an environment. The attendance last night, 30,854. It was really cool being in the building, getting to be on the field a little bit because I'm working there as an ambassador this year. So, look, this San Diego city, they're going to support their teams. Um, and I think the Chargers already regret leaving, but the Wave, they're getting over 30,000 people routinely, and that's going to continue to happen. I don't know about next weekend against North Carolina. That's their next game Saturday at 7, just because of San Diego State and the Padres are going to be playing at home that day. So there's going to be a lot happening. But all, the matchups against Portland and OL Reign, probably Washington, Kansas City, like all those games, those teams, they're going to get they're over 30,000, I would think. And they're all Saturday night games, pretty much, almost all the games. And that's perfect. It could be a great party in San Diego. And that's what it was last night. So the Wave, they are 1-0. They pick up 3 points. Next game, next Saturday against North Carolina. All right. Any more comments from the chat? No, I did not see the Seals and Loyal games. No, I've had a lot going on. Did the Seals win? What's the latest with them? Seals and Loyal. I did not catch those games. I'm looking up the score right now. Well, the Seals, they're 10-3. Okay, Seals lost in overtime. Okay. What about the Loyal? Did they win? Or did they play this weekend? I was really focused on San Diego State, obviously the Padres, and then being at the Wave game. So the next one, the Loyals' next match is against Phoenix on Saturday. Yeah, next Saturday. Oh no, okay. Yeah. Loyal lost as well. They lost 1-0. Okay. From Sacramento. All right. Well, it was still a really, really good San Diego sports weekend, right? With obviously the Padres getting closer and closer to the season, the Wave getting a win, San Diego State getting to the Final Four. Again, it's like it's a dream. And this might be the best sports year in San Diego ever. If San Diego State, I mean, it's already like, even if San Diego State doesn't win, but they're playing FAU, like, you think that they can win that game. You think they can beat any team. They already beat Alabama. They beat Creighton, right? They can win any game that they play, especially with the way that they play. So I will be disappointed if they do lose, if they don't win it all. Now that we're this far in, right? But even just with San Diego State now, with the Wave, if they win it all, if the Padres win the World Series, and they definitely could, that's the best San Diego sports year ever. So 2023, it's going to be a really, really good one. And it's already off to one heck of a start. All right, that's it. Talking Friars episode 371. Thank you, everyone, on the podcast platforms, on YouTube, for tuning in. I'm Ben Fadden signing off. I'll see you later.